All right, then we begin in five, four, three, two, one.
All right, welcome to our fourth and final review of the evening in Echoes Plus. Now, you might be able to tell from the title that the plus might mean something. That is to say, this is an enhanced version of a game called Echoes.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
yeah, also as you can tell from the title screen, this is again very similar to the previous game we just reviewed.
Right. It's kind of a pairing, they are from the same developer using the same tool sets. But that is not to say that they share a similar-ish aesthetic and design ethos.
Uh-huh.
On the other hand, hi Geometry Wars, we missed you.
I mean, it's asteroids.
It's asteroids and Geometry Wars.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, Geometry Wars is also basically asteroids.
Not really, but we don't have time to get into that.
Right. Okay, it's similar to asteroids.
Yes, it's asteroids and Geometry Wars. This is
and this game way more than the other one wants a radial controller too.
Yeah. This is basically what would happen if you combined like the first Geometry Wars game with asteroids. Anyway, getting back to it, the title, this is a revamped version of a game that appeared on various obscure platforms like the Ouya. No joke, this game apparently was initially made for the Amazon Fire TV and the Ouya.
God, remember when that was supposed to be the future of gaming?
Like, for 2 nanoseconds?
That's being generous, friend.
And apparently the initial version appeared on the Xbox 360. Probably in the Indie Games channel.
Yeah, may it forever rest in peace.
Yeah. Now, this might be a bit of a bold statement, but out of the 2 Binary Zoo games we're showcasing this week, this is the better one.
It certainly has more modes with different features and elaborates on the base concept a little more thoroughly.
Exactly. So in terms of modes, first there is Echoes mode, which is the regular mode.
Yeah, it's kind of the catch-all mode. It features the special units from the other 2 special modes, and also it has 10 escalating difficulty levels, I believe.
Yes, and that escalation very much follows the Geometry Wars pattern. Each level will introduce a new enemy type and make things more intense, and power up your blaster.
Yeah, there are power-ups. The red ones power up your blaster. I think the green ones heal you, and I don't know what the yellow ones do.
Those are multipliers.
Oh, multiplier, right? It's an X. It's a multiplier increase.
And there's also a blue one because you get bombs in this.
Right.
So.
Yeah, at first I was accidentally using those because I was still using the mouse, and that's the thing you click for. Even when you're using the mouse, there are 2 modes. You can set it to use the keyboard buttons to fire even when you are using your mouse, or there is if you set it to classic mode or something, you can actually rotate your mouse to turn and then fire.
It's worth mentioning that this is a twin stick shooter, though you can use the keyboard and mouse. Like, you use the mouse for movement, and you use the arrow keys to fire.
Or WASD.
Whatever. I could use the arrow keys on this, so...
You can also set it to use only the arrow keys and WASD to move and shoot.
Yeah. And honestly, using digital inputs for twin stick shooters is an underrated way of playing. Like, my favorite twin stick shooter of all time is actually Geometry Wars Galaxies on the DS.
Mm-hmm. And in this game, as soon as you get your weapon to level higher than 3, you have enough spread there that you're not going to do terrible with 8-directional shooting.
Right. So, it fits the control scheme well enough. And, getting up to level 10 is not an easy task. But it's like, even if you do get up to level 10, the game doesn't end. It just, that's kind of the peak intensity.
Yeah, which is what I assumed happened mostly in the other one, too.
Right.
But if you in addition to the asteroids that of various sizes that break into subsequent smaller sizes, this game features walls of blue asteroids that come at you. They're fairly easy to destroy, and chains of red asteroids that are like a snake, and that will chase you, and you have to shoot it until it's gone.
Yeah. And that kind of ties into the other modes. But before that, there is a time attack mode. Once again, it's 3 minutes. Although, what's interesting here is you got unlimited energy. Like 1982, this game features an energy bar system instead of lives. You get hit, you take a certain amount of damage, and that damage is predicated on what hits you. Like getting hit by an asteroid takes a bit of health, versus like other things that can take 5, or the fucking black holes, which take 15 to 20.
And you have a pretty generous health bar for normal asteroid hits.
Yes. And in the time attack mode, you're basically invincible.
It just you lose score.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you get hit.
Yeah. And there's also a survivor mode. Once again, 1 hit, 1 death. Like, there is a there is a bona fide classic mode. That is to say, you want the direct asteroids comparison. This is
it literally says it's just asteroids.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not just the design and it's got the color scheme of asteroids. It's got the physics of asteroids. That is the paramount key here, because the other modes, even though it looks like asteroids, it plays a lot closer to Geometry Wars. This game actually plays like the classic asteroids, which means you have to deal with physics, because
turning and thrust.
Yes.
You can't you don't have up, down, left, right. You have turn left, turn right, and go forward.
Oh god, they even changed the UI.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I fucking hated this mode because this was not a control scheme that was conducive to a mouse.
Oh god, it's not even go with a joystick. What the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a mode you want either a twisty-majig or
a radial dial. Not even a radial dial. You want a trackball for this. This game was like that's the control method you used for fucking asteroids back in the day. And you can get a trackball mouse, but I have no idea if this game is actually compatible with one. It's just playing with a mouse did not feel good at all.
No, it did not.
Like, if I could remap this to make one of the buttons give me thrust instead of it being up on the arrow or up on the joystick, that would be fine. I could probably get used to this. Yeah. But with up being thrust, no, why?
Indeed.
Who said this was okay?
Also, your guy you control has a little bit less immediate, obvious directional signaling than the cursor in asteroids. In asteroids, you're a triangle. In this game, you're a circle with a notch in it.
At least they gave you the notch.
Mm-hmm.
Back in my day, we didn't have no notch.
Well, back in they didn't make it with a notch thingy. But yeah, this is basically asteroids.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And the other two special modes are Asteroid Belt and Meteor Storm.
Right.
Asteroid Belt is pretty much just the red one, the red chains of things that you have to run away from while you're shooting them, or
The
they'll
snake
just
apps.
catch up. Yeah.
These snake asteroids.
And we'll let Pettyfan show that one off before I go into the next one.
Right. So, yeah.
That's well, yeah, things right.
You have either it keeps your power-ups from when you were previously doing it, or this one just starts you with an ass ton of power-ups because your gun is like level 6.
Yeah.
Or 7.
That's because the chains get pretty thick and long, phrasing.
Right. They start off, the first couple are easy, but then they start getting longer and longer, and also they start doing 2 at once, and you have to get really creative about,
dealing with a
duck and weave, boys.
Yeah, this is the mode that's gonna keep. This is one of the modes that's gonna keep you moving.
Indeed.
Because it gets difficult to take them out quickly after not too long a time, and they just you can already see Pettyfans dealing with 2. Soon there will be 3, and each time they hit you, I think it's about 5 points of damage.
Something like that. The key is don't let them hit you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
it's harder when they start coming from like opposing directions.
Yeah.
Also, it's probably a good idea in this game to not shoot them in the middle, because if you shoot them in the middle, then you get more snakes.
Also, when more of the line disappears, they get faster.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, so it's a very specific kind of challenge.
I kind of wish the energy meter was a little bit more prominent.
Yeah.
Having it in numbers, it's a little less easy to tell at a glance how you're doing.
Yeah, if it was a bar or something like it is in the other game.
Mm-hmm. And as far as the other mode is Pettyfan switches.
It's called Meteor Swarm or Meteor Storm, and it's mostly the lines, I believe.
Yes.
Columns.
The lines and columns of meteors.
In which I guess mostly you're trying to choose which direction to shoot.
Yeah, and the intensity levels are about it works in similar fashion to Asteroid Belt mode. Like they're going to come in faster, more of them, different directions,
and you have to kill the yellow ones to get score multipliers.
Yep.
And if you get hit, that'll reduce your score multipliers from calling. But you get a lot of them.
Okay, you get. It looks like you're getting at least one every line.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing to keep you moving is the multipliers.
Mm-hmm. Because it's much easier to stand still and get through the meteor swarms.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, the name of the game, so to speak, is all about score. Each one of these modes provides a score setting. So as you can see, this game is a lot more robust in terms of its feature set than 1982, offering a bevy of unique challenges. Like each mode is pretty different from the other ones, without straying too far outside of, say, maybe classic mode. So there's a lot more to keep you around here, ostensibly, than 1982.
Yeah.
But it's still, this is still a very short form kind of game.
Yeah, you do runs, and then you either try another run or just
move
stop
on
for
with
a
life.
while. Yeah.
Now, there's also apparently a thing called a zoo trial.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's like these are a series of additional challenges. Each zoo can be attempted on any of the 4 difficulty levels, with harder difficulties contributing more towards your total completion percentage. Easy equals 1%, normal 2%, hard 3%, insane 4%. Only the hardest difficulty achieved counts towards your total. So for the ultimate 100% score, you need to complete each of the 25 zoots on insane difficulty. Zoots can only be completed in specific game modes. So make sure you check on these in the Zoo trial menu screens. I'm thinking these are the Steam achievements.
Yeah, they're like challenge. I do remember seeing a challenge things, but the name is
because the most recent update to both games was Steam achievements. Yeah, and also worth noting that there is a new Echoes game in development, Echoes 3, coming this summer. Like, there's a prominent banner.
Yep.
And it's probably gonna be, I don't know if it's going to be a free one or not. Could be.
Possible.
But
anyway, if it's a further elaboration of this, it'll probably be worth checking out unless it's quite expensive.
Right. Like, the music is once again pulse pounding techno. Once again, very in line with with Geometry Wars. Except for classic mode, I don't recall there being music there.
Neither do I.
Good on them.
Yeah, it's like, once again, Asteroids didn't have any music. Like, so, yeah. If I had to pick between the two binary Zoo games we featured here, I would go with Echoes Plus. Simply because I think it not only provides more content, but I think it hits the aesthetical treatise better than 1982 does. Like, except in terms of the actual classic mode. It got there, but it just doesn't have the control scheme to work around it, if that makes any sense. All right.
Yeah.
Closing thoughts on this game?
Like the other one, it's an alright time waster. But you're probably not going to be logging, even multiple hours into it.
Yeah, it's pretty neat, but it's not. It's certainly worth checking out.
It's a fairly enjoyable game, and it's free to try out if you're interested.
I think this kind of game is a little bit harder for me than the other one is, so I found it a little bit more frustrating in difficulty, but again, I was never particularly great at classic arcade games.
All right. So that'll about do it for this week of Fragments of Silicon Reviews. Thank you if you managed to get through all 4 of them. But coming up on the week ahead. So, once again, things are very fluid right now. I can formally announce that Tuesday's interview has been delayed to at least mid-July. There's just too many factors going in to get limited run games on the program right now. E3 season, everyone.
And I'm sure limited run games will have plenty of news post that, because they're really good about the whole, hey, and also there'll be this limited edition physical version of that game that you wanted really bad.
Right. And what's happening on Wednesday? Well, we're still trying to wrangle a guest. I repeat myself, E3 week. So if we don't, we have a couple of topics planned. If we don't have a guest, we will be talking about the Pokemon news from last week and Mega Man 11 news from last week if we don't have a guest. So that's what's going on pre-E3 week. We will probably give you the details of our full E3 plans on Wednesday. Because E3 is coming up very quickly. It starts next weekend. In fact, we might have to start our review session a little early because there is a conference happening on Sunday at 9:30. That's Bethesda. So, and we'll definitely be covering that one. So, until Wednesday, I wish you good gaming.